afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to another segment of Power Up Your Passion. My name is Felicia Shankin. I am your host, and we have a great guest today. I know I always say we have great guests. I do have great guests. What can I say? But we have a returning guest, and this is Cindy Ford McFarland, and AKA CBD Cindy. So we have her here today. I wanted her to come back because we had her here in November, and it was an awesome conversation about the benefits and the perks of using CBD products and CBD oil. So Cindy, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, Felicia, for having me back.
Wonderful.
I was looking forward to it.
Wonderful, wonderful. I loved having Cindy on the show. Before we get started, I want you to briefly explain to the audience that may not have seen the show in November, what started you on your path to where you are now working with CBD products?
Well, it started with, I launched a bath and body product 3.5 years ago. And my purpose for launching that, the business initially, was because I'm a recovering alcoholic, 13-year sobriety, and I wanted to create a platform for women in sobriety to create jobs for women in sobriety. So I launched a business, and the business was treading water. It's an online business, and it was moving along nicely. And then in 2018, I got riddled with arthritis. I have arthritis in my hands, my ankles, my knees, and really bad in my right hip especially.
Okay.
My son gave me some CBD to use, and I didn't really take him seriously at first, and I kind of sort of used it. And about 3 weeks later, he says, "Mom," he saw me limping. He says, "Are you using that CBD?" I said, "Kind of, sort of, not really." And he told me I needed to take it 3 times a day, 2 to 3 times a day, and let me know how I felt after a few days.
Right.
Long story short, it was a game changer.
Okay.
After like the 4th or 5th day, I was like, what is in here? What is this, So I started researching CBD with the intentions of just putting it in my creams and lotions,
Right.
which I have done.
Okay.
But in addition to, I am now, long story short, I now carry 4 of the top 10 lines of products in the country. I have become a CBD care specialist.
Wonderful.
I work with people to understand their needs and how CBD can help them. The products I carry are all third-party tested,
Okay.
all recognized by the U.S. Hemp Authority. Felicia, there's a lot of junk out there.
Right.
A lot of the products that are on the market don't even have CBD in them. So you have to know what you're purchasing. I've done the research for my customers.
Okay.
And in studying CBD and understanding CBD, I'm able to help them as far as what their needs are.
Right, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted you back on the show, because there are so many myths about CBD and the misunderstanding between CBD and THC. So can you briefly just break down the difference between CBD and THC?
Correct. THC is a portion of the marijuana plant or the hemp plant that gets you high.
Right.
It's the cannabinoid that gets you high.
Okay.
Now, CBD is part of the hemp plant, the sister plant of the marijuana plant, or a cousin of the marijuana plant. And the reason is that we consider it a cousin is because the hemp plant has a low volume of THC in the plant itself versus the marijuana plant. And by law, we can only extract CBD from the hemp plant. Now, there's various types of CBD, 3 different types actually. There's CBD, the isolate, there's CBD broad spectrum, and there's CBD full spectrum.
Okay.
The CBD isolate isolates pretty much what it says, pure CBD, 99% pure CBD from the hemp plant.
Okay.
I'm going to take you to the other end of the spectrum. The full spectrum takes the CBD out of the plant, but also other cannabinoids too, including the THC. Now, because there is a low volume of THC in the hemp plant, and by law, to sell CBD in this country, you can only have 0.3% of THC. That won't get you high.
Right.
But it would show up on a drug test.
Right. I remember you saying.
Yes. Then there's the middle of the road. There's CBD broad spectrum, which I just launched a broad spectrum product in the last few months.
Okay.
The broad spectrum has all the benefits of the CBD full spectrum, only without the THC.
Gotcha.
So the difference is, you know, the misconception is this, the fact that CBD doesn't get you high, it gets you healthy.
Right. And that's one of the reasons, another reason why I wanted you on the show as well. Because I always say a person that is knowledgeable, then they can make correct decisions.
Absolutely.
And I know that you've been studying this for years, and you continuous, because it is a continuous thing, because there's always new things happening.
Always new things, always changing, coming out with new products, better products. But again, I'm going back to that, so many products are not good on the market. Because it's just like buying a vitamin. You can buy a bad vitamin, you can buy a real good vitamin. CBD is the same thing. So you need to know what you're getting. I find that most people who say to me, well, I've used CBD, but it didn't work for me.
Right.
Usually it does. The most, in 99.9% of the cases, it's because of two reasons. One, because they don't have a quality product.
Right.
And secondly, they're not taking enough.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember when you were on the show last time, you were saying so many doses, like depending on milligrams or grams, and then how you divvy it out as far as treating yourself.
Correct. You know, you can't overdose on CBD,
Right.
but it's not inexpensive. So you don't want to take more than you need.
Right.
So I help people understand how they can take CBD to reach what I refer to as your sweet spot.
Okay.
What works best for you? Let's face it, Felicia, you might take two Tylenol, for instance, and it might get rid of a headache for you.
Right.
And I might have to take 3 or have to take Excedrin or something else different in order to get rid of it. Our bodies are all different.
Correct.
So, and the same thing goes for the CBD. So it's a matter of finding that sweet spot without taking too much.
Right, and I like that you said that you can't overdose on it.
Yeah.
You know, because it does. Now, it's funny, before we actually came into here, you and I were talking, I was telling Cindy that my dog, my husband and I noticed that he always had a problem with his right paw. And of course, you know, Max is like 8 or 9 now, so I'm assuming that is arthritis. And now we started to see it going into his left paw. So I was a little concerned, and I asked Cindy, can you give CBD to animals?
Absolutely, and they make CBD for pets, which I do carry too. Actually, pets were probably using CBD way before humans were using it, and they benefit the same way we do. And the top 3 reasons we benefit are for pain, anxiety, and sleep.
Right.
Now, there are lots of benefits: emphysema, epilepsy, MS, cancer, the list goes on and on. Now, don't get me wrong, Felicia, I'm not a doctor.
Right.
I'm not making any medical claims.
Exactly.
I'm only telling you what I have read, that people have documented that the fact that they have seen the benefits from it.
Right.
But when it comes to the pets, we find we give it to them. I have a woman who gives her cat CBD because the cat goes absolutely bonkers every time it goes to the vet.
Okay.
So she gives the cat CBD before it goes, and the cat's not scratching the vet's eyes out. You know, so it's helpful for her, and it's
Right.
helpful for the vet and the cat and everything else. So.
Right, which is awesome. It's funny
Yeah.
that you say that, because I think we were talking about before, like the benefits. One of the benefits you mentioned was sleep.
Yes.
Now, I have such a hard time sleeping. I was telling Cindy, if I get 4 hours of sleep, I'm lucky. And I know you were saying that there is a melatonin.
Melatonin,
product.
yes.
Yes, melatonin CBD product.
Other than my 3, and my CBD oils, which are still my #1 selling products.
Okay.
My #2 selling product is my CBD with melatonin.
Okay.
The only people that don't benefit from this is if you're allergic to melatonin. Very few people are, but you can get a headache from melatonin itself. But the combination of CBD with the melatonin and a few other greens in here does enhance the sleep, being able to fall asleep faster and stay asleep. And I personally have seen the benefits of it.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and I'm going back to my oils too. We were talking about taking the, how much to take. Well,
Right.
The CBD comes in all different strengths.
Right.
In reality, it has to do with price, because you can buy a bottle of CBD oil that says 500 milligrams of CBD in it,
Right.
up to 5,000,
Okay.
and everything in between. Here I have a 500, 1,000, and a 3,000. But what it comes down to is per milligram of CBD, how much it costs per milligram. And when it comes to CBD, because it is a dropper, you can adjust how much you're taking.
Right.
So you have all different price points, but anybody can use any of these three. And if I told you to take 25 milligrams a day, you could take 25. You'd have to take a dropper and a half of this one to get 25. You have to take a half a dropper of this one, or a third of a dropper, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And then you'd have to take a quarter of a dropper of that one in order to get 25 milligrams. So,
Okay, yeah. So that makes sense. The higher the strength. Then,
correct.
Okay, I understand
Correct.
that. Because coming from a medical background, of course, we cannot tell a patient, don't take medicine.
Right.
Okay. Growing up, my thing was I was never a medication person. I always wanted to do things holistically. I just, natural. There's a book that I read when I was like 17 years old. A bus driver told me about it. It was called Back to Eden. And it was,
I've heard of that book, yes.
And it was wonderful. And it took you back to a time when we didn't have all these pills and medications and different things like that, that it was natural. And that's what I like about the CBD oil, because you were talking about the hemp. It comes like from the hemp family.
Hemp plant, yes.
Yes.
CBD's been around for thousands of years. It's just became legal 14, 15 months ago.
Okay.
And by the way, it is legal in all 50 states.
Okay.
You can travel with it.
Okay.
I have an international flight attendant that buys my CBD from me. The other concern is passing a drug test. And as I mentioned, my products don't have any THC. Now, there is a small percentage of drug tests that just test for cannabinoids.
Okay.
And if that's the case, then it would show up. But you could always ask.
Wonderful. Okay, we're going to take a brief commercial break, and we will see you when you come back.
Absolutely.
Direct mail, or a magazine ad, you can leave our studio and within 48 hours have a permanent digital copy of your live segment to link to your social media, embed into your company website, or use in email marketing. Investing in your brand is so very important, and we can't wait to have you as a guest.
Shelter dogs aren't broken. They've simply experienced more life. If they were human, we would call them wise. They would be the ones with tales to tell and stories to write, the ones dealt a bad hand who responded with courage. Do not pity a shelter dog. Adopt one.
Say we've got grit, and we'll take it as a compliment. Because it's our uncommon drive, our spark within, that brings us together and sets us apart. We are temple made. And when others take shortcuts, when others take breaks, when others take the easy way, we take charge.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We are having a great conversation today with CBD Cindy on the benefits of CBD products. I am your host, Felicia Shankin. So we want to get back to what we were talking about before we went to commercial. Now, you brought some products with you today. We were talking about the oil.
Yes.
Can you take the oil by itself, or can you mix it with things? What can you do with it?
Oh, absolutely. Most people take it by just putting it under their tongue and let it sit there for 10 seconds. But you can put the oil in your coffee, on your cereal, and any product, anything you want to, and absorb it that way.
Okay.
Some of the oil has little to no taste, especially the isolate. And when you get into the broad spectrum, or it does have a taste of a little, because of the other cannabinoids, of a little hempy taste to it. But we infuse orange or citrus or different flavors to that in order to cover that, and it actually tastes pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at some of the products that you have here on the table. Let me move the plant
Felicia,
out
I did bring
bit.
a few products. I didn't bring them all.
That's okay.
I do have the oils here, as I mentioned before.
Okay.
And then I also have a broad spectrum product here. My broad spectrum products are from CBD Distillery, and they do label the products a little bit different. instead of putting the amount of CBD that is in the bottle, they're putting how much per dosage. But on my website does list the amount of CBD that's in the bottle.
Okay.
So that can be a little confusing. I have the CBD with melatonin,
Okay.
and then I have the topical use CBD. The topical use of CBD, you can put it in a cream or lotion. Now, when you put a cream or lotion on, it is going into a few layers of your skin.
Right.
These are really good for your hands, your ankles, even some knees.
Okay.
But if you have hip problem deep in, you're going to need something more of the oil, or what I have here is my CBD patch.
Okay.
Which is a transdermal patch that lasts 3 to 4 days.
Okay, and explain the benefits of that for the people that don't know what the transdermal do.
Transdermal will actually go into your bloodstream, so that goes a little further deeper in than what your creams and lotions would.
And how long is the effects of that?
3 to 4 days.
3 to 4 days?
Yes, yes.
Wow.
And I'm getting great. I just launched this a few weeks ago, and I'm getting wonderful feedback from it.
Okay.
My customers are very happy with it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, that's good to know.
And then I also launched a, kind of for the fun of it, but for everybody was asking me for it. This is my CBD bath bombs.
Wow.
I have 3 different bath bombs. They all work with pain, but one is primarily made for pain.
Okay.
And then there's another one that is great for anxiety and stress. And then the third one is great for any skin problems.
Wow, I'm gonna have to try that bath bomb. That's what I'm saying. You don't
This
realize.
one's yours.
Oh, thank you. You don't realize how many products there are out there that can actually help you, because people just think when they hear CBD, they just think of the oil.
Right.
They don't think about the other things, and that's why you say you have to be careful, because there's so much junk out there.
Yes.
Now, I remember when my husband and I went to Amsterdam. There's CBD, besides the THC places, but there's CBD places all over the place.
Right.
And people just going in them like they're going into a grocery store. And they're just going in there and getting their things. So obviously they know something that we don't know.
Well, they've also been legal there a lot longer than we have.
Exactly.
And they are popping up everywhere. You can even buy products in the grocery store and in the drugstore. And a matter of fact, my grocery store carries Matera, the product line that I carry.
Right.
I do carry it at a lesser price than they do. I also carry it, I run sales, but more importantly, I've done the research, so I personally help my customers as far as what their needs are. I have an open line that people can call.
That's awesome.
And talk to me or one of my staff in order to find out what would work best for them and how it can work.
Well, see, I love that. I'm glad you said that. And the reason why I'm glad you say that, because going back to when we started, a few minutes ago, you were talking about that you're coming from a background of a recovering alcoholic.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I know that addiction is real. I used to work with the vets in Philadelphia, so I know how real it is. How, when you're talking to your customers, is one of their fears, I don't want to get addicted?
Well, yeah, I often think they think of hemp being marijuana.
Right.
And that's where I go back explaining to them that it's a sister plant. And I also explain to them that it doesn't have the THC. My products don't have the THC in it.
Right.
But there are products out there that have a small amount of THC, which is perfectly fine. You're not going to get high with that.
Okay.
As I mentioned before, CBD doesn't get you high. It gets
Right.
you healthy.
Yeah, and that's good. And that's why I'm saying it's so important to be an informed consumer. You know, like Cindy said, we're not saying that these things is your all go-to products that's going to take care of all your elements and everything. We're just letting you know that there's a different way besides using medication.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was taking 16 ibuprofens a day before I was introduced to CBD for my arthritis.
And you still have a liver?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was just taking the edge off. Don't get me wrong, Felicia, my arthritis is not cured.
Right.
It is, I still have pain at times, but it is a game changer.
Right.
Okay, instead of on my bad days, my pain level being a 10, it might be a 4 or 5, and on my good days, there's many days that I have that I am not in pain, and that's a game changer for me.
I can imagine. I'm trying to remember, was it you that told me the story of the gentleman who said to you, thank you for giving him his wife back?
Oh, yes. I can repeat that story.
Okay.
We have a summer home in Quakertown, and when we were there, somebody saw the sign on my side of my car, and he knocked on my door and he says, do you think CBD can help my wife? And I knew his wife, not well, but I heard her history, and she had a lot of issues. She had PTSD, she was bipolar, she had some drug problems when she was younger and no longer, but she dealt with depression.
Right.
And she walked around with her head down all the time. I said, you know, I always say this, check with your doctor.
Right.
I didn't know what medication she was on. I know she was on some depression medication. And a couple of days later, he came back to me and said, we want to purchase the CBD.
Okay.
They did. Long story short, a week later, he came banging on my door. I thought something was wrong on a Sunday morning, and I'm like, Mark,
especially on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, exactly. 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning. I opened the door. Mark, what's wrong? And he says, he had tears in his eyes. He says, I just want to thank you for giving me my wife back. This woman's a different person today.
I can imagine.
I do a sober sister weekend at my summer home. In September. This was in August. And she sat with 15 sober women and spoke to us. And this woman wouldn't talk to anyone before.
That's awesome.
And it literally has changed her life. And I've seen some of the firsthand what it has done for many, many people.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that because when you touch someone's life and you make a difference, there is no other feeling better than that feeling in the world.
That's all I'm doing with this. I'm paying it forward.
Yes.
You know, I saw the benefits myself, and I'm paying it forward.
Yes, and that's why you're so blessed, and that's why. So I know you just only brought a couple of products today, but what are some of the other products that you have in your line that you were not able to bring?
I have CBD Good Morning, which is good for overall wellness. It's got caffeine, B6 and B12 in it.
Okay.
I also have CBD Monthly. A lot of my clients buy it for their daughters, and I even have a couple people using it for going through menopause. I also have the different CBD creams. I carry the CBD cream in a roll-on and a couple different strengths. And I think that's about it. A couple different strengths of the different, the gel caps. I also carry the CBD gel caps.
Okay.
And I also carry CBD gummies. It's just another way of absorbing the CBD oils instead of putting an oil under your tongue.
Right.
It's in a gel cap form. They come in 25 and 50 milligrams. My husband takes a 25 daily. My father, my 86-year-old father, takes it daily, among other people. And then the gummies is just another way of consuming. That comes in 30 milligrams.
That's
so
awesome.
The only, you know, you can't adjust the gel caps, but you can adjust the oils. So sometimes people will buy the gel caps for convenience and then add the oils to it also to be able to increase it on those days you need to.
Well, that's good that they give you an option because I'm not a pill person. And I tried everything possible to try and take a pill. So I like the fact that you have that option of taking the oil and putting it under your tongue.
Yeah, and if you have a problem taking the pill, the CBT with melatonin actually you chew.
Oh.
Or you can dissolve under your tongue.
Okay.
So even though it's a pill form, it's not like swallowing a pill.
Now, I know everybody's body is different, and we were talking about the melatonin for me because, of course, I have horrible sleep habits. Now, how many would you take, and how long do you think it would take to absorb in your system where you start feeling effects?
In most cases, you take one.
Okay.
Okay. It is scored, so you can take a half of one. And also, occasionally, I have taken 2 at night if I've had a difficult night.
Okay.
That would increase your CBD to 50 milligrams, which would not be harmful, and your melatonin to 20.
Right.
I wouldn't take more than 2.
Okay.
And I wouldn't take that every night.
Okay.
So 1 is your average dosage. I would take it about 15 to 20 minutes prior to you going to sleep.
Okay.
I had a customer recently buy it for Christmas for her husband. I think it was a gift to her, not to him, because she wanted him to sleep. But she came back to me a couple weeks later and she says, at first he said it wasn't doing anything for him. And then after a week of using it, he said, no, I want you to order it every month from me because it's really made a difference.
Yeah, because like anything else, it has to take time to get into your system, to absorb and actually have benefits and everything like that. So we're going to be wrapping up soon, but before we do, you were telling me that you did something a little different with your marketing materials.
Yes, I launched the business as www.howlovelybathandbody.com. I recently changed it to How Lovely Wellness because that's what we are now.
Right.
It's more of a wellness company. So I've changed my marketing. But if you put in How Lovely Bath and Body, it'll still go back to my webpage.
Right.
You can order anything on my website.
Okay.
I give free shipping all over the country, and I do ship to Hawaii and California.
And that's what I like. I saw that, the free shipping. I love it.
I ship all over the country.
Okay.
And in addition to that, I do run promotions. So if you subscribe to my website, there are promotions. Anytime a company runs a promotion, I forward that to my customers.
Okay.
And I do run personal. Right now, I have a promotion going on right now that if you buy any CBD product, I will send you a free bath bomb.
Wonderful.
So if you bought 2 products, you get a free bath bomb. That is until the 26th. So anybody that orders any products, they will get a free bath bomb as a gift from me.
I might try that bath bomb today.
You're going to take it.
Yeah, I might try this today. So what I want to do is I want you to look in that camera there. I want you to tell people how they can get in contact with you and also your website again.
Okay. You can call me directly at 215-292-5645. And you can reach me on my website at www.howlovelywellness.com.
Wonderful. Well, Cindy, it was such a pleasure again.
Always a pleasure.
Having you on today. And like I said, Cindy is a recurring guest. So she will be back on the show again to enlighten us and inform us about what's going on in the CBD world, bring us some other products that she has to share with us. And I can't wait to use this. I cannot wait. So this might get used today. So thank you for being on. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you, Felicia.
You're welcome. So everyone, thank you for joining us today. I am your host, Felicia Shankin. This is Power Up Your Passion. Remember to come back next week, Tuesdays at 12 o'clock. We'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.